Hello, 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 beautiful people. My name is L.A. Roberts, and I am welcoming you to another great episode of Conversations with Greatness. And today, I am so absolutely just excited to introduce my first male guest, okay? The first male to grace the screen with me in this series by the name of Matt Gil. So, some of you know Matt, some of you have seen Matt, but what you don't know about Matt is that, well, you may know, but he is an absolutely powerful person. He is a soul-stirring speaker. Okay, I've heard him speak myself, and I'm just going to tell you that he does bring it out of you. He is a best-selling, international best-selling author of Got It, Get It, Give It. Okay. He has done over 24 years of experience in training and development. Okay, so that means he can probably tell you just a little bit about that. Okay, he's worked with places such as K-Mart, Red Robin International, Six Flags, and Disney. Like, I'm so interested in the whole Disney thing because I was a Disney princess at once. You don't recognize?
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
And he also worked with motivating the masses. Now, I've watched Matt for years. He is absolutely amazing. His stage presence is awesome. And I just want to introduce Matt Gil to everyone. Hi, Matt.
Amen. Hello, LA. Thank you so much for having me. It's exciting to be here. And congratulations on this series. Like, I'm super stoked for you. And the transformation that you get to bring to the world and to this planet. And being the first male is a lot of pressure.
No, look, no pressure. No pressure.
Right. I love it. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here with you.
Of course, of course, of course. Now, I remember the first time I saw you, California, speaking right. I planned that trip for probably 3 years prior. Like, it was like a setup for me because I didn't have a lot of confidence in saying that I could really, really do this. Like, I was doing it on a smaller scale, and it's okay when you know everybody around you, right? Like, like, this person is going to do this because, as we know, I can operate on 50% and nobody would know because it looks great.
Right. Your 50% looks like somebody else's 100%. Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, my 25%.
Come on.
Okay, look like someone else's 100%. Well, I had planned for this trip to go to California for the conference, and I walked in the room, and I'm sitting down, and I'm all nervous because I'm VIP,
Right.
VIP.
The only way to go to when you go to events, like, here's the thing. Number one, anytime you go to an event, you should always upgrade for a VIP, regardless of who it is or what it is, because there's so much more, and there's a mindset shift that occurs by just upgrading to the VIP.
Yeah.
Like, you truly do set yourself up to, like, I need to pay more attention. I need to there's more of a buy-in than, let me just sit back and watch.
Right. With your arms crossed, right?
Right.
Let me see what this is.
Right.
So I think it was the second day. As a matter of fact, it was because we were in the big ballroom. And you get on stage with all this personality. I'm like, who is that? And everybody knew you except for me. I'm like, well, what happened? Like, who is this? Because I didn't know. I live in Atlanta. Right. And I traveled out there on faith, but once I started hearing you talk, I was like, oh my, he's really cool. And then I choose the people that I interview strategically and on purpose because I don't want anyone to be on my platform or sharing a platform with me that are mean people.
Right. Right.
And you were not. Like you were so like not. I don't even really know how to explain it. It's the way that people have been that I've been around. I mentioned it to my first two guests as well. Like, listen, people are not nice. You know, they're not approachable.
Right.
And you were very approachable, very helpful, really knowledgeable, and just did not hold anything back. So I want to thank you for that because that was 2016, I think it was.
Wow. Okay.
I made that trip. I believe I made that trip in 2016, and here we are in 2020, and I no longer feel that I can't do it.
Right. Come on. And that it's a journey. And see, and one of the things that I love is, so I appreciate that and I receive that. What you felt was my humanity.
Mm,
I think that we as people get disconnected from our humanity because we're so stuck up here. We our minds of what we have to do, where we have to go, what we have to, the money that we have to generate, the people that we have to do, the kids that we have to feed, the bills that we have to pay. Like we operate in this space all the time, and there's a conscious change of operating from your head to your heart.
mm,
I live in my heart. My biggest struggle sometimes is to go to my head because I want to be in my heart so much. Like
yeah,
like I, especially as a business owner, as a CEO, as a team leader, as somebody that's in a leadership role, like you have to be, you're learning the balance of going from your head to your heart. The humanity and the connection comes from the heart. And so what you felt and what I'm very intentional on is that I want you to connect with my spirit and my heart. And
yes,
I know I was in your spot at one point of being at an event, of absorbing and saying, what am I here to learn? What is it that I'm here to receive? And almost the nervousness, the excitement, the I want to run, I want to go back to my room and just go get in bed, like
yes,
all of those emotions. And so I get that journey. And that's why whenever I look for anybody that I want to learn from, I want to see their journey. I want to see the spots where they're a mess. So
yeah,
that because I see them up here and I see them at where they are and I compare myself to them thinking I should be there. But the fact is that they weren't always there. Like there was a journey and a process to get there. And
yeah,
so my goal is always to meet somebody for wherever they are, whether they're down here, whether they're up here, and then those that are above me, like I'm struggling to get up there. I'm like, all right, what are they doing? Like, let me learn from them.
yes. It's like relating to everyone, no matter what level, like you said. One of the things that I have been blessed to do is teach classes. I've been teaching classes at church or at just everywhere at colleges and things like that since I was about 24,
Hmm.
23, 24.
All right.
And with me going in, and mind you, it was not a class where it was math or English, it was always motivational.
Mm.
Like I've been in the motivating, just all of that actually much earlier than that, but going into colleges and things like that and talking to people, and I learned how to relate to everyone in the room no matter where they were.
Right.
uh, because in a room there are people, like you said, there are people that are maybe where you are, not where you are yet, and above you, so to speak, and you have to know how to talk to everyone so that they get it.
Yeah.
And that is definitely something that you did. You made everything fun. My favorite part is the selfie, because
Yeah.
listen, selfies are important and you can't get the double chin.
Right. But here's the thing about the selfie, and I always cracks me up because the very first time that I taught that, which actually 2016 probably would have been one of the first times that I did that at the beginning of Speak and Write. The selfie was, a lot of times we don't take pictures or we don't post things of ourselves because we have this judgment of how we look, of the angles, you know, the the double chin, the cheeks,
Right.
like all of that stuff. It just adds to the conversation of the I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not dot dot dot. That what we call our negative chatter, and so we have access to it so quickly. And so selfies, when we take a selfie, if we don't take the picture right, all that does is enhance the conversation that we're already having with ourselves. So I wanted to create a way of reminding people that if you just do a couple different things, if you angle it up a little way, if you hold it a certain way, you're going to take a better photo of yourself. But more importantly, you're going to allow yourself to be seen. And that's the key. So many people are afraid to hide, or no, they want to hide because they're afraid to show themselves. And so the whole goal was, let me set you up to show yourself in a more powerful way.
Yeah.
And what I didn't realize, and there are so many people that I meet that always come up, be like, "You taught me how to take a selfie," and I'm like, "Great!" Like,
You're like, wonderful.
right. But at just that small little kind of back door to getting people to show up more was delicious, you know, because now I know, you know, I can think of 3 people who, prior to coming to a Speak and Write and learning how to take a selfie, how to hold a phone, wouldn't show up, wouldn't allow themselves to be seen because
Yeah.
of that chatter. But as a result of just making a few small little changes, they feel more comfortable. Now, mind you, there's also the personal development side of, you know, how to learning how to manage that conversation. But one small change all of a sudden open up the door for them to show up more. And that's
Yeah.
the deliciousness.
Yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of people focus more on their flaws.
Mm.
I mean, you see your flaws and other people have to squint. Like,
Right.
what?
Right.
Oh, you talking about right here? You're like,
Right.
yeah, they're like, I didn't even see that until you pointed it out. And, you know, like if there's so many different things, or, you know, the self-talk that you go through, the negativity that you put on yourself, that space,
Right.
you know,
Which is
that you
which is
live in.
why celebration is so important. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I do some personal development coaching and I work with other clients, and the first thing I always start off my calls with is, what do you want to be celebrated for?
Mm.
And a lot of times they're like, well, I didn't come here to celebrate. Like, I didn't. That's, but we have to create the evidence for our mind of when things worked, because we have a file cabinet of all of the times that it didn't work, and
Oh, yeah.
that's our right, and we have it ready. Like, the minute we get a new idea, all of a sudden we have our Verizon network that pops in and says, why are you going to do that? You screwed up the last time. Don't do
Yep.
that. Like, you're going to waste your time. Look, you
Can
didn't
you
get,
hear me
like,
now? That was
right,
wrong. You did.
right, exactly. And we have this file cabinet of all the things that didn't work, but our minds need the other file cabinet of the times that it did work, the times
Yeah.
that we did make progress. And that's what celebration is. Celebration is taking a pause for a moment and acknowledging the forward movement in our life, whether that be in
Yeah.
relationship, whether that be in our goals, whether that be in even self-care right now.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the time for you in self-care is a celebration right now, especially in today's time, and in the situation that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, COVID and this quarantine has forced people to be in a space together that we're not used to operating in, as a
Right.
family unit, as our, even individually, you know, and facing things that before we had all the distractions. We had our work, we had our environment, we had all the things that we could go out and do to
Mm-hmm.
distract us. And COVID has required us to sit still
Right.
and to look at, you know, I like this, I don't like this, I need to get rid of this, I need to change this, or man, I really love this and I need to build this up more.
Yeah. But those conversations are the conversations that people run from because
Exactly.
they don't want to. I always say that the hardest person to tell the truth to is yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, you don't want to realize or recognize the things that you're doing. you always want to make excuses for them and come up with reasons of to why, oh, this is why I do this. This is how I act like this. This is why I act like this. But when you look yourself in the mirror and you're actually able to tell yourself the truth, that's a
Mm-hmm.
whole nother,
Come
that's a
on.
door open that you know, people don't even understand how freeing that really is.
Right. I was just thinking of my, like, the truth will set you free. We've all
Yeah.
heard that statement. And but it's so powerful in so many different ways. One of the most difficult things that in our conversations even before, one of the things that you had asked is what's one of the greatest accomplishments that you've had. And one of my greatest accomplishments was also one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do. and
Okay.
that and that was March 1st, 2020, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I went live on Facebook and I publicly came out as gay. Now, here's the thing is it wasn't about being gay, and it wasn't about being about um like having this big magical moment.
Mm-hmm.
But what it was for me, because I never felt like I was hiding anything. If
Okay.
somebody asked, I would tell them. But what it was a moment of me just being able to say, you know what, this is me, 100% of me.
Okay.
And it was a moment of stepping out of the
Mm.
secret that we all have. We all have family secrets. We have the
Yeah.
things, many of us grew up with what happens in the family.
Stays in the family.
Exactly.
You better not go out and tell my business.
Come on, right. Right, right. And so you can't, we're trained and we're to not share some of the things that other people need to hear the most.
Mm.
And so I had a conversation with my parents even before I was going to do this. And I just said, listen, I need to let you know. Now, here's what I realized is that the I never felt like I said, I never felt like I was keeping a secret, but I didn't realize how important it was for me to share until the moment I said, wow, I need to share this and free other people, because I
Mm.
showed up filtered based on who I was with. When I was with family, I was this person. When I
Uh-huh.
was with this group of friends, I was this person. When I was
Mm-hmm.
at work, I could be this person.
Mm-hmm.
When really that needs to be the same person no matter where I'm at.
Do you think it was because you were trying to protect? Because a lot of the times we filter ourselves with the thought that we're protecting someone else, and so we reject ourselves and thinking that we're being the superhero when
Come
in
on.
actuality we're really not. We are hurting ourselves, and then the people that we think that we're protecting more than likely don't really need the protection that we thought they needed.
Right. And the answer to your question is yes. And that was definitely part of it. And I can tell you who it was that I was trying to protect. I grew up in a very loving family home, very Christian. We would go to church every Sunday, very religious. My father was a LA County retired fire chief. He was third in command, very well known in his field and very respected. I grew up in a very leadership role. I was the firstborn, so obviously the responsibility of being the firstborn was always
I'm
on me. Come
I
on,
know.
so
I get it. I get it. Yeah.
and so there was the what would happen if I showed up myself, and what would happen, like how would people look at my dad? And really, part of my conversation with him, when I um, decided what I was going to do was, I'm letting you know because I know that you have people that follow me, that that I've been able to impact. And I said, and I want you to hear from me first and be prepared for whatever that was. The
Hmm.
beautiful thing about that is it allowed my dad to express and teach other people what it looks like to um, show unconditional love.
Mm.
I know that I protected. Now, when I first came out to him in my 20s, my father said, we don't get it. We don't like it goes against what we believe, but you're still our
Hmm.
son and we love you. My only request is I don't want to see it. Like, I don't want to see you with anybody, and so what I interpreted that to be was that I couldn't date.
Okay.
At the time, I was in a long-term relationship. I was in 7.5 years, and when that relationship ended, I didn't date anybody, and so I sacrificed love. I sacrificed myself for the
Mm-hmm.
sake of my father because I thought, wow, I can't bring anybody around. And it wasn't until all of a sudden I'm like, huh, I'm not happy. Like, I really want to have that companionship.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, I need to make myself happy in this. And I deserve to love. I deserve to have love. I deserve to experience love. And it was a difficult decision. So some people, and as you're listening right now, you may be at a point where you're like, wow, are you ready to take a stand for you?
Mm-hmm.
I was afraid of judgment. I was afraid of rejection. I was afraid of what happens with my family. But I had to be willing. I had to be willing to take a stand for myself first. The beautiful thing is, all of the stories that I had created of what might happen never happened. Like,
You know,
go ahead.
it's that like you said, that fear of rejection.
Yeah.
That how am I going to handle this if it doesn't go right? Um, the great conclusion jumper. Okay.
Hmm.
The I'm going to, and you know what I think, and I have been guilty of being a conclusion jumper. You want to know why, Matt? Because it makes me feel better to know the end,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um, Aid me, not makes me. It made me feel better at the time to know the end, because
Right.
then there is no surprises there. You won't surprise me because I
Right.
expected this from you.
Right.
If I share my truth and if I open up and if I say something, then I expected you to act the fool on me. So I was already set up for it, you know.
Right.
So it's the I'm going to reject you before you reject me.
Right.
It's like a huge shell that we build around ourselves, and we keep things in. We keep certain things in, like maybe you were raped, or maybe you were molested, or maybe you're dealing with suicidal thoughts, or maybe you're depressed, or
Right.
something that has been made to be a shameful thing.
Right.
You know, society today has made so many things to be shameful. I cannot tell you that I'm sad. People show up and they're always happy. No, you're not.
Right. Right. But see, and that's the mask that we wear,
Mm-hmm.
of going through and showing, yeah, everything's great. You look at social media, and social media is a perfect example of that. Everybody looks happy all the time, but and that's why I am committed to showing the good, the bad, the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
you have to see the journey, because there's power in that story. There's power in that journey. Like, there's experiences. Now, here's the thing: when we want to, it's all about control.
It
Like,
is.
we want to control the narrative. We
Yeah.
want to tell our story and have this result, and we're going to control it in here. If this is going to happen, then I'm not going to share that, because then boom, 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 boom. But here's
Uh-huh.
the thing: is when we control, we take away the power of the incident. When we try to take control, there may be a lesson that we don't even understand. I am constantly having conversations with God, and I'm not here to impose my belief, but I have this conversation with who I call God, the higher power, whatever it is for you as the listener. But and I say, just will you just give me a memo explaining out exactly how this is going to happen, what it's going to do? Just give
You
me
too.
right all the
Please,
time.
the list.
And here's what he tells me. He says, if I showed it to you, you would screw it up. You would try to change the plan. You would try to move this over here. And that's just not what's supposed to happen.
Listen, the other day, a friend of mine told me it's on the map. I'm doing this workout regimen in the morning, and I pray every morning, right?
Right.
Please, why did I get into this? It's this challenge that a friend of mine, and a friend and me, we're doing it together.
Right.
And she goes, well, it's on your roadmap. And I said, well, where is the map and where is my Sharpie?
Right.
Like, I need to change this. But you made a good point. You know what? We couldn't handle what it is that God would have for us.
Right.
And he knows that. We think we're ready.
Right.
And even when he gives you a glimpse, because he's given me glimpses, I lose my mind.
Exactly.
Like, what? What do you mean? When? How's that gonna happen? What? He like, oh.
For example, I'll give you an example of what happened to me when we first went into quarantine. So one, I was, the first couple of weeks were really great. And then I had this, it was on a Sunday afternoon, and I could just feel the weight of the world on me, like just listening to conversation and other friends who were having a difficult moment. They had called and reached out, and I, prayed with them and kind of consoled them, and I could just feel their pain, and it felt like everything in the world got sucked into my bubble. And I realized that what I was having was an anxiety attack, was a panic attack. I don't think I've ever really had that tremendous amount of pain and hurt at one moment like that, in the intensity that I've had. And I can't remember having that feeling before. And as I was going through it, there were certain friends that I knew that I just needed to call them to reground me, like bring me back. And that's all I could say when they picked up the phone was, I said, I need help. And they said, are you okay? And I said, I'm safe, but bring me back. And I was crying and I was bawling and I couldn't catch my breath, and I could feel the pressure on my chest. It was like an elephant was sitting on my chest. And I was trying to breathe and trying to catch my breath. And all I could say was just bring me back, bring me back. And so we did some breath exercises to bring me back. And what I realized later on was I actually did a call with somebody and a coaching client 3 days later who was going through that exact same moment that I just went through. And I was able to use that experience to say, I know where you're at, sis.
Yeah.
This is what I did. And walk her through the process of just regrounding again, getting her to breathe again. Now, here's the thing. Would I have been able to do it without that experience? Probably.
Yeah.
Would I have been as powerful? Probably not. Now, had God said on Sunday, March, whatever, I'm going to have you go through this panic attack, and I would have been like, oh, heck no. Like, hold up. Look, I would have got my Sharpie and been like, nope. But I needed to experience that because I'm able to serve, and it really gave me a different, a depth of understanding that I wouldn't have had I not gone through that moment. And so God sometimes will give us experiences that don't make sense. And the shift is saying, what am I supposed to learn right now? Like, God, I don't get it. I don't understand. This doesn't make sense to me.
But having that conversation, that raw conversation with God and saying, I don't get it.
Right.
I don't get it. I'm hurt. I remember, after my papa, affectionately called my grandfather, my papa passed away. Right. I remember going to a park. It's the Chattahoochee River Trail down here in Georgia and Atlanta. And I'm walking down the trail, and my breakdown had already started happening at my house, but I was like, I need to go outside. So I put on, some workout pants and a big old t-shirt, and I went to this trail. And when I tell you, I cried so hard. I don't know who was on the trail. They probably was like, what is wrong with her? It didn't matter. I was crying, snotting, like, and really having this raw conversation with God to the point where I told him how I felt, why I felt that way, everything that I felt, and the weight that came off of me. And I realized that, oh, bless you.
Thank you.
That is what he was waiting for.
Yeah.
The transparency of the moment, because people always say, well, God knows how I feel. Yeah, but he wants you to tell him.
Come on. There you go. There you go.
He wants you to tell him because he he really cherishes that communication with you.
Mm,
It's not about knowing it all to God. It's about the relationship that he
right.
wants to have with you. And if you don't talk to him, yes, of course he's still going to be there. He's still going to love you. But he wants to know. He wants to touch those deep, dark places that
Yep.
no man can touch so that he can heal you so that you can be whole and full enough to make the decision to say, this is me, this is who I am, love me or leave me. I love me. And that's all that really matters. No, first, God loves me, I love me. And it doesn't matter whether or not you accept me or not, because I'm not here for you. My purpose
Right.
is God, and that is it.
And here's the thing is that sometimes we have a superficial connection with our emotions.
Mm,
And I'll explain that in the sense of we may say, you know what, I'm mad right now, God. Like I am so angry. And that's the superficial, the feeling or emotion.
mm-hmm,
And the truth is that we're not necessarily angry. There's another emotion underneath the anger, and that's
uh-huh.
hurt.
Yeah.
Our hurt creates anger. And until we begin to have a dialogue with God or a higher power or whoever that is for you, we're not able to identify the mountain of emotions that are in just that experience. Like
Mm-hmm,
we go to the anger because that's what society knows and that's the easier thing. Oh, okay, great. You're mad. Okay, change it. But you
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
can't change the behavior. You can't change the how it's coming out until you change the emotion underneath it. And that's
Right.
where God does the work.
Right. The
He will,
root.
yes, he
The
works
root.
within the heart.
Yeah, the root. And that's the name of my second book, The Root Cause.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is a reason under the reason under the reason.
Yes.
And I call it box therapy, right? So that's the, God. I wrote a one woman show actually, and I ran it for 2 years, 2012 and 2013, twenty
Uh-huh.
thirteen into 2015. I run this one woman show that I did. It had 2 acts and live music, and I'm up there by myself, just me,
Come
um,
on. I love it.
keeping the people interested. Um, but I started it off by saying that there is a box. Where's this box, you ask? It's in the back of your mind. Now,
Mm,
this is where you hide all of the hurt and the pain that you try so hard to hide.
mm-hmm.
What if one day that box bursts open without your control?
Mm,
You do. Do you push everything in and pretend like it didn't happen? Or do you deal with everything one by one so that you can be free?
right.
That's the decision. So after my show, I had um, older people walking up to me. I'm talking about 60s and 70s going, I'm ready to open my box.
Come on.
I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to face this because those are the shackles that we cannot see. Those are the things that we don't understand why we're not making it to the next level. It's because we're holding ourselves in a prison of
Mm-hmm.
hurt and bondage and things that other people have done to us. We're holding ourselves there. And sometimes people just don't even understand why. So you know what I do, Matt? When somebody tells me something is wrong, I actually did it today. A friend of mine called me and she said, I'm mad.
Right.
And I go, okay, so what's going on? And she tells me, and I went, that's not it. Not it at all. So you ready to tell me the real reason why you're feeling the way you're feeling? And we went into this deep hole and pulled it right on out. And it was nothing about what she started the conversation on. It was something
Exactly.
completely different.
Exactly.
So I
That
hope
and that I think that's the way a lot of us operate. Even when we look at, you talk about the box and everything falling out, and then we see everything, laying out there, and we're like, crap, where do I get started? It's kind of
mm-hmm.
like if I had a piece of paper like this, and
Uh-huh.
here's all the things that fell out of the box. Like I could look at this and be like, wow, I got to get this done. I got to deal with this. I got to deal with this, and become overwhelmed. And then my negative chatter, that cabinet that was over here, all of a sudden it's like, why are you going to deal with that? Like last time you tried to manage it, it didn't work out. That's why we put it in the box because it didn't happen. So why are you
Right.
even going to go do it now? So
Right.
we look at it as if we're supposed to address it like this. But if we make a switch and we
Mm-hmm.
go like this,
Uh-huh.
now I can deal with, okay, boom, I can deal with this one. Once that's done, now I can move on to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's a matter of going through and saying, what do I need to do right now?
Yeah.
There's 4 questions that I ask myself every morning, especially in this quarantine time right now. Is one, what is the number one priority and the thing that I need to do right now?
Mm.
So with the way that this world is, the way that this virus is out, like things are changing constantly. So
Yeah.
what I'm focusing on right now, 2 days later, may completely change, and what I had planned is going to have to change because of where we are in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So today, what is it that what's my priority right now? That's the first question. The second thing is, what resources, what people, what tools do I need right now in order to get to that goal? In order
Mm-hmm.
to complete that 1, 2, or 3 things, I try to make a list not more than 3. If I get more than 3, perfect. But
Mm-hmm.
I just know those top 3 things are the things that are my priority for the day. So 1, what is it? 2, what resources, people, or time, tools, do I need? The third thing is, what could possibly come up that's going to distract me? So in my family, I'm the person that a lot of people go to for advice or, checking in and exactly. So that takes up time.
Mm-hmm.
I have my agenda, my calendar of what my appointments and what I'm supposed to be doing, and then life happens, and the phone keeps ringing. I put my phone over there so I don't look at my phone now, but like we look at our text messages and people are calling. So I have in my calendar, I have 90 minutes blocked out in the morning and 90 minutes at night of my unexpected time. That's when I do all of my follow up. So if I get a text message, somebody's like, I really, really need to talk, great. I know I have times in my calendar to address that time. And if I don't use it, if nobody texts, if I don't have any, great. It's just added time, it's bonus.
That's
But,
good.
but I plan to win. I plan to be like, hey, I can't talk to you right now, but give me an hour. I'll call you back in an hour, or I'll call you back in 2 hours. Like
That's good.
it's preparing yourself to win, especially in this day and time.
You said something. I plan to win.
Yes.
I plan to win. When so many people plan to lose unknowingly,
Right.
and I don't, it's a saying. I hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. I hate that.
Right.
I hate that because why are we preparing for the worst?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we preparing for the worst? I was in a situation a few years ago, and I distinctly remember, I was like, oh, God, I don't know what I'm going to do. This is not going to work. What am I going to do? And I was walking in my room, and I heard as clear as I'm talking to you, why are you preparing to lose? And I was like, my God, I'm preparing to lose. Like, I have set it up where,
Mm-hmm.
what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with this? Who's going to come and get this? Because I thought I was going to have to move quickly. And I'm
Right.
like, oh, what am I going to do with this? Well, I got to figure this out. Or, my brothers and my sister, and how am I going to get this together? And God was like, what are you doing?
Right.
Why are you preparing to lose? Why don't you take a step back and think about what would happen if this works?
Right. How about you go through and you plan on what's next when it does work? Like that's where
Right.
you need to be putting your focus on. It's the same thing of how people will set their intentions or the mindset. They focus on the things that they don't want. Take dating, for example. I don't want a scrub. I don't want some guy who's going to do this. I don't want this. I don't want, and boom, boom, boom. And in our minds, we're making a list of all the things that we don't want. But the
Mm-hmm.
way that our minds are programmed, it doesn't recognize the word not. it doesn't recognize the fact that, oh, this is like what we're running from. It just
Mhm.
says, okay, we looking for a scrub. We looking for somebody who's
Right.
yeah, we're looking for, like, it goes for those things versus saying, I want a man, or I want a relationship that's loving. I want a relationship that's supportive. I want a job that fulfills me. I want a job that I get to be excited about every single day. I want to
Right.
create, like, talk about what you do want versus what you don't want, because your mind is going to run no matter where you put it.
Yes, that is so true, because we literally attract those things that we don't even want. If you're focusing on, you know what, I don't really like bald head men. Every time you go out to the grocery store, it's gonna be a bald head man that comes to you. What?
Right, right, right.
Why are all these bald men approaching me when that is your main focus? We are so powerful,
because
Matt.
because all your mind has is bald head, and so now here's the thing: you're gonna have full-headed guys, full-headed hair guys that are gonna come up and talk to you, but your mind is not gonna even really identify that, because it's looking for the bald head, because all it has in its mind, in your mind, is bald head. So your mind is programmed, oh, there's a bald head, oh, there's a bald head. And there
Mm-hmm.
may be some really cute guy checking people out with a full set of hair, and you don't even know he's the manager, but he's just looking all scrubbish on that day, and he may be like, or he may be doing that and just as a side job because he getting bored at home and rich,
Uh-huh.
be the man of your dreams. But you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to pay attention to him because your mind is looking for the bald-headed guy who's pumping propane outside of the
And you
gas
keep
station.
running away from him. You like
Right.
you running, you walking by him like this.
Right, right. Like, so our minds are so incredibly powerful. Our coach Lisa Nichols, who is, with motivating the masses and speaking right, she is always saying energy grows where energy goes. And so where you are putting your energy, the ideas of what you don't want and the things that you do want are going to come to fruition based on where you're putting your focus. So I choose to set myself up to win. I choose to go through and just say, you know what? I'm going to go through and I'm going to set a time for unexpected things. So that way I know that if something comes up, I'll have the time to manage it and to deal with it. And the fourth thing that I do is I ask myself, how am I going to celebrate my wins for the day?
Mm.
How am I going to go through and celebrate? And celebration is not necessarily having a red velvet cupcake or a
I was
cookie.
gonna say I vote for margarita.
Right. I'd be right there with you. It can be, but see, and now it can be a margarita. But here's the thing: is I need to know, I need to take an intentional pause to acknowledge the forward movements that I've made throughout my day.
Intentional. That's good.
It's
That's
an
really good.
it's an intentional pause. And listen, sometimes getting out of bed is a celebration. Sometimes when you see that text message or that phone call come in, you've been avoiding them, you're like, man, I haven't wanted to talk to them. Sometimes just picking up the phone and pressing that green button, that's a win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you have to really create the evidence for your mind of what's working, of the forward movements that you're making in your life.
And not allowing anyone else to determine what a win looks like.
Exactly.
Because your win is just that. It's your win.
Mm-hmm.
So what other people may look at as being small. So it's small to them, it's big
Mm-hmm.
to you. But don't allow the people to make that decision for you. And I think a lot of the times we allow other people to dictate our successes.
Yeah. Yep.
No matter how, you know, big they are, if people are not, which is why social media
Right.
has become such a problem for a lot of people. You can post something and you base your cuteness of the day on whether or not you look at your post 15 minutes later. And if you have at least 25 likes,
Right.
validates your cuteness,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or if you only get 5, then you're trying to figure out what you can do to
Right.
put a better picture, right?
Right. How do I switch those photos out?
Right. Maybe if I just update the post and put something else there.
Right.
But psychologically, that's terrible because we should not allow other people to determine our worth. We should
Right.
not allow other people to determine anything about us because at the end of the day, it's not their approval that we are living for. We're not living for people's approval. I
Right.
mean, we're human. We want, we want that human connection. We want to be able to, connect and have the conversation and things like that. But at the
There's
end
a,
of the
there's
day,
there's a difference between here's the kind of the I think the movement is moving from caring what people think and being aware. So there's an awareness that you want. You want to be
uh-huh,
aware, especially being in a professional environment. Like there's a way that you need to maintain yourself. Now, you can be a certain person. That's just your brand. It's just who you are. I am playful. I will wear bow ties sometimes in an event and people call me a party in a bow tie. That's fine. That's my brand. Like I'm fun, I'm playful, I'm good. But there's also the seriousness of who I am and what I do.
mm-hmm,
Um, we've heard the statement, other people's opinions of you is none of your business.
mm-hmm,
Like you really can't pay attention to it. Back in the day, in my early 20s, when I was a little bit more hood and really didn't care and party and have a good time, I used to say, listen, if you don't qualify within the 3 F's, then your opinion don't matter to me. If you're not feeding me, financing me, or the other word that I
uh-huh.
can't say, then your opinion don't matter.
Right,
and,
right, right,
and so you have to be aware of how you're coming across and how you're in, because that's how you make your impact.
right, right,
I
right.
know that there's a balance of playfulness with me, but a balance of transformation and seriousness. There's
Yeah.
a place of goofiness, but then there's also a time of I'm here for you. Like
Mhm.
so you do have to be aware, but I don't make my decisions based on what other people are going to think,
But a
because
lot of people do. A lot of people do.
oh yeah.
And I've grown out of it because now I'm just like, listen, I don't care. Like, I have come a very long way. I'm very proud of myself, but it just gets to be too much.
Right.
It becomes a full-time job really caring about what other people think of you. It really does because it causes stress.
Mm-hmm.
It causes all types of things. Your hair fall out, and I like my hair. I don't want none of it on the floor.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
and
it's
and and you allow yourself. So one of the things that I created almost 2 years ago now was faith and flow. And faith is whatever your faith is, and believing in something greater than yourself, believing in possibility. And when you stand in your faith and you operate in flow, and sometimes if you think of like a river, or you even think of the ocean, sometimes the water is moving really fast. It's a crazy rush. And then other times there are moments of stillness where the water just seems like it's not moving, but it's just calm. Flow, when you operate in flow, you are allowed the freedom to restore, to reset, to reevaluate, to look at, wow, what do I need to do now? Like, and that's where the more that you're connected to your faith, whatever that is, and you surrender to that faith,
surrender.
mm-hmm, to saying, you know what, I don't have the whole picture. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it. And to a lot of people, this looks really crazy.
Mm.
I talk about the TV show that I'm building. I don't know when it's going to
Not the
happen. I don't.
news.
Right. And that was one of them. Like, and as I would share, ideas, people were like, huh? And they don't get it. And that's okay, because God didn't give my vision to them.
Oh,
He gave it to me.
right, right.
And so you may not see what the vision is, and that's okay. It's not your job to see it. It's my job to see it, and it's my job to put into practice the movement to make it happen. If
Yeah.
it doesn't happen, it's because I did not act on it.
Hmm.
Like there's taking the ownership of where I am in my life
Hmm.
is a direct result of the actions that I'm taking and that I'm not taking.
Right.
Where you are in your life, the success, the failures, the in-betweens are all a living, breathing manifestation of the conversations that you're having with yourself up here.
Yeah.
So if you want to change what's happening out there, you have to change what's
What's
happening here. And
in here?
that's where people get stuck.
Yeah. Because they don't know
That's
how. They don't
exactly.
know how. But I think the first step is always to acknowledge you have a
Hmm.
problem
Right.
and then ask for help. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with you saying, you know what, I just don't know where to start.
Right.
Help me help myself because
Yep.
I don't want to be stuck here anymore. And I think people have to just get, we hear it all the time. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. You
Right.
really got to get to the point where you're like, no, you know what? No, I'm really tired. And if I
Right.
don't do it now, I don't know what else is going to happen. I cannot be in this space anymore because your future is way too important. Your destiny is way too important. When I talk to people or if I'm speaking or if I'm with a client, I always say, you look at yourself as being so important that if you opened up your door and there's 1,000 people standing outside your door, think about them not moving until you make a decision.
Come on.
Because that's how important we are. There are
Right.
lives connected to your purpose, lives connected to just decisions that you make today. There are people that need you that don't even know they need you.
Right.
People that
Yep.
need to meet you, that just seeing you smile at them or just telling your story or whatever, they don't even know they need it yet until they get it.
Hmm.
Then they know this is what I was missing. And so
Right.
there's a trickle effect, and we have a responsibility to live the best life we can. There's no excuses not to do what you were called to do. It's absolutely none. You just have to do it. And your past is what makes you, eligible to do it.
It's the deliciousness. Like your past and your stories are your biggest assets, and we run from them. We
Mm-hmm.
run from our stories because of the guilt and the shame that we have that we've attached to them. And here's the funny thing is that those stories are just moments. Like even if you look at this paper and this was our timeline of our life, like
Uh-huh.
this is where we are now. This is the beginning. Something may have happened here that's still showing up in our life, but this was just a small little moment of our
Mm-hmm.
life. But that small moment has played such a massive role in it, and that's the juiciness. That's the where the breakthrough lies. That's the story that other people need to hear
Yeah.
because they may be at that moment. And
Yeah.
you may be the catalyst that helps them shift that story
Yeah.
to redefine what does this experience mean to me.
Yeah. The perspective is everything. Your perspective
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
everything. If you flip your perspective, you go, I never really looked at it that way. Like it really wasn't, oh my God, like this is how I can do this and this is how I can help this person. And let's just be honest. Things happen to people that are absolutely horrible. They
Right.
are traumatic. They are horrible. And I'm not discounting anybody's pain. I'm not
Right.
discounting anyone's, the injury and the broken hearts and things like that. But I will say that we cannot allow those moments to hold us hostage to the point where we just don't move because
Right.
you did not go through that for nothing. None of your
Right.
pain is nothing. Your tears were not for nothing. Your just you screaming at the top of your lungs, all of that was not for nothing because it's what made you stronger. And had you not gone through it, then you would not be who you are today.
Right. And what's the gift that's wrapped in sandpaper?
Ooh, yeah,
What's the gift that came wrapped in sandpaper? And those
with
experiences,
blades
and
around it.
we can, yep, we can sit back and we know, man, that's not fair. It's not fair
Yeah,
that they have to go through that, that they had to experience that. my invitation to those people, especially when I'm in conversation, is great. What did you learn from this? Like what awareness did you get that you didn't have before?
Mm-hmm.
And the moment that you begin to look at what you gained from it, you
Mm.
take power over the situation. You move from victor, or you move from victim to victor,
Yeah.
because now you're saying, huh, okay, this happened to me. I didn't have control over that situation, but on the back end of it now, I'm taking control. I'm no
Yes.
longer going to let that person's action hold me back anymore. I'm
Yeah.
realizing how much power I truly had. I'm realizing that, maybe I need to be using my voice more often.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I need to be an advocate for other people who are in the same spot that I am. Maybe the environment that I'm around, I need to change. Like
Yeah.
taking ownership over, how do I move forward?
Yeah. And that takes the power from the
Mm-hmm.
situation. That
Yeah.
takes the power from the person. It takes the
Yep.
power from the time. Because once you own it and you tell it, nobody can do nothing with you. Like
Come on. Come
you
on.
can't you can't take that away from me anymore. You can't control my life with this anymore because I've already told it. And
Right.
now it's not something that I cry about in the middle of the night anymore. Because now I'm telling it because I'm a survivor from it. And that's
Right.
it.
And listen, if you don't tell your story, other people are going to tell your story for you. And more than likely, they're going to get it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, how about you tell your story yourself and stand in the power? Stand on your story and not in your story.
Yes. Yep.
Like
Yep.
that right there,
Game
game,
changer.
game changer.
Listen, Matt, this was good. I really, really, really enjoyed talking to you, the conversations with
Yeah.
greatness. And you definitely, definitely are great in everything that you do.
Oh, thank
Um, I want you to tell the people before I let you go so they won't say, what's going on with Matt next? Tell me what's
you.
going on with Matt. I want you to tell the people that are watching, the people that will watch it, in the future, what do you have coming up next? What's next for the great and wonderful Matt Gil?
Well, I appreciate that. I'm in this beautiful space, especially right now, being in COVID. Of what do I want to create? We had I had my business plan of where I wanted to go, and obviously things kind of shifted. And I really truly have a heart for youth, and working with youth, and helping learning the emotional literacy. If you think about schools, we teach math, science, history, all of the different literacies, but we don't teach emotional literacy.
Oh,
We
that's
don't
so.
teach how to manage that negative chatter while we're in school. How do we manage, the feeling of I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, the comparison, the bullying, all of that stuff, those emotions. And so we carry them on as an adult. So I'm very passionate about bringing emotional literacy to youth and to families. And recently, with sharing my story more, I realized that there's healing that I can bring to the LGBTQ community, that I haven't reached out to before. And so I'm passionate about reaching that. Um, and more universally, I really want to bring in the conversation around faith,
Mm-hmm.
around standing in your faith, determining what is that faith, what is that faith to you? What are your core values? How does that show up in your life? How does that help you make decisions
Mm-hmm.
that you're making on a daily basis? And how do you create a plan to really strengthen your relationship with your faith? What are the practices? And really self-awareness and being present to the moment. And so I'm actually beginning a journey called Victory Week, and creating a victory community, where we're claiming victory over this situation and claiming victory over our life, and determining what does victory look like.
Mm-hmm.
Victory is very different for different people.
Mm-hmm.
And so determining on what does it look like to you, how do we get there, and then how do we do the celebration for continued growth. So I am doing a Victory Week, which will be coming up in the towards the end of May, Um, and so I'm for those that may be interested in just having a 15-minute, conversation. I'm just doing coaching calls, like a 15 brain, a mind dump, a strategy session of just, connection. That's one of the been, I think, the biggest things that I'm really grateful for, is I've been able to connect with more people during this time and really hear their stories. And I invite anybody who is interested in just having a conversation to go to iclaimvictory.com and just sign up for a 15-minute connection. And, for some people, it's been, let's just laugh. For other people, it's been like, I have this idea. What should I do? Other people, I'm stuck right here. I don't know how to get past this point. And for some, just been, hey, will you pray with me? Sure. Like, it's just really, truly a connection. Long-term goal
Mm-hmm.
is the TV show. I've
Yay!
Yeah, I've known that I wanted to do the show since she's probably 8 or 9 years old. And now with all of the awareness of technology and seeing where we are, now it makes sense in how it's up here. Before it didn't. And
Mm-hmm.
now I'm like, oh, that's what we're gonna do. Oh, like like things finally.
Timing.
Yeah, yeah,
Timing is everything.
yeah, totally. And patience, patience. Like I would like I'm still waiting for my beach house. I don't know if you can see. So I have can't really see it right there, but it's on the
Mm-hmm.
wall, and it looks like it's a beach, and it's got
Uh-huh.
palm trees, and that is the view that I want from my living room.
That's beautiful visualization. That's
Yeah,
powerful.
like I have it on the window so that as I look over there, I'm like, oh, someday that's going to be the view that I'm going to be looking at. Like I'm gonna, and here's the thing: I live 7 miles from the beach. So I'm like, I'm close, but I'm looking and I'm visualizing, what am I creating?
Mm-hmm.
And how is it going to happen? I don't know yet, but God's just saying, okay, here's the one. Here's what you do today.
Right.
Here's what you do tomorrow.
Right.
Here's what you do the next day.
Yeah. Take it day by day.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
having those goals, and Lord, we'll talk forever about
Right.
the stuff that I have up and looking at and just speaking and look, I mean, physical garments and stuff. Like I have all types of stuff that I look at and go, yep, yep,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. It's powerful.
Yeah.
It's so powerful
Yeah.
that
And I invite anybody who wants to stay connected. You can find me on Facebook, Matt Gil Global on Facebook, Instagram, Mateo Gil, MateoGil, and just follow. Let's get connected. I love celebrating people. I love hearing people's journeys. Like I just that feeds my soul.
yeah,
And
celebrating people is the best thing because it's wonderful.
yeah, and I want to celebrate you. I want to celebrate you because I've been able to watch from a distance, on social media, of the growth that you've taken. And when you had reached out originally for this series, um, I know that took a big, bold step of wow, God put an idea in your heart and in your mind and said, now do this. And just even the execution of doing it requires you to take a step forward every single time. And so, on behalf of all of the nights that you went to bed stressed out, thinking, I don't know if I can do this, all the times that you may have even had moments of breakdown, of crying, of questioning everything about what you've done, where you're going, it's going to happen. For all the times that you kept pushing forward when you truly wanted to give up, I say thank you. For all the lives that you impacted by creating this space, as well as the space that you still have to create, I say thank you. Thank you for being obedient. Thank you for moving and operating from your heart and letting God work through you. I see you and I celebrate you and I appreciate you allowing me to be a part of your journey.
Listen, no, you won't. No, you won't. Nope. I will not. No, no, no. I won't.
That's just
Not
my heart to heart.
Lord. Okay, everybody. I'm about to cry this eyeliner off.
As long as one of the eyelashes aren't hanging down, you're like.
Look, okay, like I know, no, you won't. So okay,
Right.
thank you so much. I am so grateful to know you, and I cannot wait to see what happens in the next couple of months, in the next couple of years. Um, I plan on keeping you, sir.
Yeah,
So,
look, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere.
yeah,
That I know of.
right, right, that I know of, right?
Right. He
But
ain't giving me no memos yet.
right, don't send a memo. Don't send.
Right.
Not yet. Long, 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 long time.
Right.
But thank you so much.
Thank you.